All right, we're here with Jody Licatino. Jody, how are you, brother?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Charlie?
I'm doing well, man. You got your coffee in hand?
Coffee, connection, conversation. Let's roll.
Hmm. Man, so what is happening? I wanted to get you today on the podcast because you're kind of in a special place, man, in multiple aspects of your life. Um, and when I say special, I mean pretty, you've had some struggles lately, physically, and now you're on this journey with your family in another country. And I just kind of want to hear about it, man. Get some updates from you. So tell me what's going on, man. Where are you right
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Um, so the family and I are in Panama, not the beach in Florida, but the country. And you know, we were just kind of brainstorming probably close to a year ago. And we said, what can we do that's kind of out of our norm, outside of our typical routine? And at the time, we were looking at the kind of the craziness of the U.S. and just kind of asking questions. I think a lot of good people are asking is there more out there to life? What would it what could it look like in another country? Is this something we could do to like maybe live? And we're kind of thinking like, do we would we maybe want to retire in Panama one day? And Panama kind of always floats to the top. Maybe it's top three, five, top 10 as far as expats and retirement. So we were just kind of like brainstorming what would it look like to have, good clean food and soils and a slower, simpler pace. And so Panama just kept kind of floating to the top. So it's like, hey, let's take the kids and let's go there for a month. Well, fast forward, we didn't end up a month, but about 3.5 weeks. And so here we are. And as we've gotten here, we've kind of, well, first of all, we're looking at it less as not so much as a place to live, I don't think, one day. I mean, we could retire here, but more so as just an adventure as a family, kind of a bucket list with a mindset of curiosity and kindness and how do other people live. So the bottom line is we've been in Panama for just over a week on a 3.5, total length time. We started in Panama City. I'm not a city person, as you know, but made the best of it and actually enjoyed it. So 5 days in the city. It's really like three full days because we arrived on Monday and left super early on a Friday morning. Um, and then we ended up, so where we are now is kind of a remote like fishing village in a place called Nuevo Gargona, Panama. And we're on the 19th floor in a condo. We have the beach outside the front or the back, however you define it, call it the front door. And the back door, the back window, we have the mountains. And it's just an incredible experience so far, an incredible view.
Wow. And so, man, so 3 weeks is quite a number. I mean, that's a long time to be away. I know getting prep for that had to be pretty wild. So you're in a little over a week. What is there anything that you like gleaned so far? Have you kind of detoxed from the normal life yet, or how long does it take for you to kind of get into the vacation mode
Man,
or
yeah,
separate
that's
yourself
always
from normal life?
that's always a good question, right? Normally it's a couple of full days for me and my family, whether it's we go to a resort or we go on a cruise or whatever it looks like. This one's a little different because we started in Panama City and there's tons of planning and packing. By the way, my wife loves all that. So she's an expert. I just make the money, get things ready, do what I need to do. But she's like packing for the boys and planning and setting up excursions and da da da. So I guess the short answer to your question is we never we settled about sort of day two in Panama City, but as soon as we settled, we're repacking to leave and come here, which is about 2 hours away. Now that we've been here, we've really settled in. So this is what day three. Yeah, so about 2 days to settle in. And we're really doing our best to get the local experience, like literally walking through the neighborhood and going down about half a mile to play pickleball. My wife has walked 3 times to the local fish market. Now, when I say fish market, I'm talking about guys that are living in what to us in America is kind of looks like shacks. You know, they have floors, they have walls and ceilings and maybe air conditioning. That's debatable, right? So it's kind of like second world country. Not first. They have running water and air conditioning and whatnot, but definitely not Louisiana where we're from. So it's almost like what I would call second world country. But we're walking around, we're settling in. We've come to realize there's a ton of stray dogs around here for whatever reason. Um, and we just find that the people are just very warm, friendly, kind, and accepting. It's pretty cool.
Oh man. Does um you mentioned the fish market, man. Is there anything that have you gleaned from or lessons learned from the kind of the natives that you've seen so far, especially walking through the neighborhoods?
Simple, simple life, perhaps not easier, but so their job. So these guys, the again, fish market, it's a couple of guys with an old house and a couple of tables and a couple of boats. And they go out every morning and they catch or they don't. I suspect they typically do. And then they bring back and they get their fish to market. And maybe every now and then a local gringo American shows up and says, hey, in our broken Spanish, right? Can we buy some fish? But what I'm gleaning is a simple life, not in a way easier, in a way harder. Um, they're hard workers. They may or may not sell all of their fish that day. They may or may not sell whatever product they're making. Like there's these guys that paint these little portraits and ornaments and make these little dogs or cats and they'll paint them and they go to market, set up a booth and sell. So it just dawned on me, it's like this is a grown man providing for his family, and he may sit around all day and he may not sell anything, or he may sell 5 items, whatever the number is. Um, but still a good work ethic, and still it seems to have a really good family. The families seem to be very connected. Like the dads are around, the moms are around. They've all got kind of chores. They're doing what they need to do. It's a very much a family feel, family flavor. We've been asked to, like, especially if we go post on social media, it's like be careful, be safe. I got to tell you, like, I don't want to be overly naive, and there's no perfect place, but we feel totally safe. Not knocking on wood, we feel totally safe as we walk around, as we say hello, as we do what we're doing to try to fit in. And of course, we're outsiders, and they can see that. But I got to tell you, I feel like I'm 10x more at risk walking around New Orleans in the city all day long than I am walking around here. So I appreciate when people say be safe, and it's all about perspective, but it's people inherently can be good, and these are hardworking families, and by the way, they know how to play and have fun. I can tell.
So let me just switch topics on you there, man. With the recent struggles you've had, man. I know for the listeners, I'm curious to see how that's going. Um, Tell us a little bit about some of the pain that you've been in and how that happened and kind of where you're at with it and how this trip kind of integrates, sort of where you want to be.
Yeah. So I've got a neck issue, some cervical. They call it stenosis, which is essentially closing of the canal. Um, and it's severe at C7. It's moderate to severe, I believe, at C6. It's moderate at C5. Um, it's a chronic issue, but I think it first happened when I was I think the catalyst was when I was about 16. I was rear-ended in a vehicle incident. Big truck just slammed into me, hurt like hell. And I think that was the initial acute injury and catalyst. And throughout the years, I'm sure I didn't help it with all the weightlifting and the tightness in the back and the shoulders and lack of stretching back out. Never did yoga, all that good stuff. It just continued to get worse throughout the years. You fast forward, I started boxing. It's probably been 7 or 8 weeks now. And I had been in what I would call discomfort for a couple of years. Like every time I move, I turn my neck, I'm grinding and it's making noises, and it had just been uncomfortable. I started boxing because God brought Kenny into the Thumos community and into my life, world class, boxing coach. It's like, how can I not take advantage of this? I've been wanting to box. You wanted to see if I could do it, be a more capable man. And there's arguments here, right? I'm 52 years of age. Should I have been doing that? But I kind of assessed the risk and did what I thought was the right thing around assessing that risk. So in other words, I was hitting his gloves. He wasn't hitting back. I'm glad he wasn't hitting back. That would not have been good for me. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is just especially with Kenny, but just the jarring of hitting those gloves and hitting hard was just enough, I think, to act as the catalyst. Again, the acute sort of action or energy to set this thing off. And so I woke up the next day just in tremendous pain. Went through pain for about 2 weeks. By the way, pain is a great teacher. So I couldn't do anything to get out of that pain. So it was in the neck on the left side, but it was right behind that shoulder blade. And I'm saying that because I know a lot of the audience can relate to that. And no matter how hard someone tried to go back there and push, a deep tissue behind that shoulder blade, it was just nothing would help. And so it was radiating, still is, down the arm. I'm in less pain now. It's progressed to numbness and loss of tricep essentially. But for 2 weeks, man, I couldn't get comfortable. 1 to 10, I was about, I would range between a 5 and an 8. The only thing that would help is if I would just literally put my arm over my head and just kind of start to be sitting through meetings working like this, right? That pain gave me tremendous awareness. Nothing I could do got me out of that pain other than just temporarily. Maybe this would take it down, maybe like one number, maybe from a 8 to a 7. I was throwing, conservative treatment, right? So trying massage, traction, anti-inflammatories, muscle relaxers, oxy for the painkiller. And a lot of this is new to me, like the oxy. And then all of a sudden, with all that pain for such a duration of time, it's like, damn, I can't get out of this pain. Because like 1 hour or one day I got okay, fine. But 2 weeks, man, I developed this compassion for other people, men and women, who are in chronic pain. I was like, holy shit, this is their life. I'm sitting there, I'm taking the oxy, I guess the stellar, right? Fortunate or unfortunate for me, whichever one, like, it didn't work, didn't help, didn't work. But I had this awareness and this compassion for people in chronic pain, and all of a sudden I go, okay, I can see how people get addicted to pain pills. Anything to take away this pain. Now, for me, when I think about the oxy, I wasn't going to get addicted really for 2 reasons. Number one, awareness, and number two, more powerfully, it didn't work for me. I guess because it was on the nerve, so nothing would take the pain away. But to me, that was a big aha and insight and awareness. As a man that, part of my shadow, dark side is I can easily be judgmental, but I'm not judging when I'm compassionate. And that compassion was like this shared pain, this shared relationship, this new reality that I was in. So honestly, I think that's a good thing for me in a weird way.
How long ago did this happen? How long have you been living this way?
Yeah, so I'd have to go back and look at a calendar, but roughly 7, 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
And in addition to the pain, it's after 2 weeks of pain. So the doctors aren't overly concerned with pain. They don't want you in pain. They care, of course. But where they get concerned, so I saw an orthopedic and a neurosurgeon. Where they get concerned is I've got the nerve impingement from the stenosis and bone spurs causing the stenosis, which is pinching a nerve that's running down my arm here. They're more concerned about the numbness and the tingling and the loss of strength. So I don't know if you can tell or not, but so this is a normal arm. I haven't worked out in 8 weeks, which is a whole nother story for me because it's not easy. And this is my left arm. So it's almost like my tricep. I don't know if you can see it, but it's almost like missing my bicep as well. So it's atrophied. I haven't
Yeah.
measured it. I'm not that concerned. It is what it is. But Charlie, it's a strange thing for a man, especially like me, on this journey of fitness and health to go from strong to week, essentially overnight. So for example, like even at 52 years of age, one arm push-ups with a kid on my back. You probably remember from some of the videos, right? To
Yeah.
not being able to do a two-arm push-up, like I could do one. Um, Dumbbell pressing 140-pound dumbbells at 180 pounds. I'm pretty proud of that, right? And I put a whole lot of my ego and my reputation and my self-worth, self-esteem. Like there's a whole another story around all that because I built up this body and this ego and this self-esteem around all that. Not all bad and not all good. And so going from pressing 140-pound dumbbells to maybe the 30s, and even that was scary. And if someone, Charlie, would have told me, I can pinch your nerve off and take your tricep away and take away all your strength overnight, I've been like, oh, dude, you're crazy. This muscle's been here a long time. It ain't going anywhere. And it's almost like an electrical circuit. You understand, as an electrical engineer, right? Cut off that circuit, lights out. And that's where I am.
It's so amazing how complex the human body is. This speaks to that of how many systems you've got running in there. And like you just said, the compassion piece is very interesting because there are so many people walking around or even not walking around that have one or two issues that, and you said this before, that this one thing that happened to you kind of puts you into that pain mindset, and you almost, I mean, that can trickle into all aspects of your life. So I'm curious, when you talk about pain, you mentioned specifically that you have compassion, but your relationship with pain, how has it impacted your mindset? And you mentioned the physical part, but I'm curious to see where you are from a mind, relationship, and spiritual, if you can kind of speak to that on pain.
Man, absolutely. So think about this. I lost my mojo overnight. And what I mean by that is, I went from strong, powerful, and like confident to scared, incapable, wounded, unknowing, right? No clarity. I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to you going, I'm probably going to have surgery. So, and I'm all about the natural. I'm all about avoiding surgery, especially neck surgery, right? That's a scary thing. And now I'm about 95% sure I'm going to need surgery, which includes artificial disc. Wow, I never would have expected that. But what I also realized, like immediately, it's like, so the wife and I were in Mexico a couple weeks ago as well. It's like I'm wounded. And I don't mean to sound like a victim here, but I'm just telling you my mindset that goes through this. And this mindset is reality. It goes, I can't even lift my bag to load it up in the overhead bin in the airplane. So Abby, my wife, at 115 pounds, is loading my bag for me. What do people think about that? That's fun, right? And she's glad to do it, right? She's a little lion as well. I can't, as a man, protect my wife. That's a weird thought for once. I no longer take that for granted, right? So I was like, I'm almost more like meek and mild, like I'm wounded, like, hey man, it's cool. And not that I was walking around bowed up at all. I just had this security in this mojo. Might I almost say I took it for granted. And I don't do that anymore. So I can look at people now and I wonder, like, what are you going through, brother? Especially people who are older. I'm 52. I always think I'm 36. Well, now all of a sudden I feel 52. Shit. So, but in Thumos, as you know, we've got these 8 F's, right? From faith to family to fitness to finance. As I was going through this, I'm doing pretty well overall, considering how important my body and there's a reputation. There's a credibility piece of this as well, where I've coached to help so many men, especially get their hormones optimized, get strong, get fit, get balanced, and all of a sudden now it's like, dude, I'm like not working out. I'm losing my body. Who am I? who am I, man? Like to coach or to tell anybody what to do? Like I don't have this shit figured out. But in all of this, I pulled up those 8 F's and I go, how am I doing? When my F, which is fitness and health for our community, when it's gone from like an 8 to a 2 overnight, I go, okay, let's get that 2 back up to a 4. It's not an 8, Charlie. It's not where I am, where I was. If I look at that, it'll mentally mess me up. But I know how important progress is for a man and a woman. Progress equals happiness. It just does. And I'm not the first to say that. Tony Robbins said that years ago, and I never forgot it because I challenged it. I tried to not believe it, but I believe it. And so I go, can I go from a 2 to a 4, even while I'm waiting on surgery? And then I have, Lord knows, how many more weeks of recovery after that. I think I can. In the meantime, as I go from perhaps a 2 to a 4 in the fitness and health around this neck, are there other F's I can focus on? Absolutely. Faith and spirituality. When the outer body, the physical meat suit starts to fail or break down, and it will for all of us, if we live long enough, it's going to break down. It's a good thing we have the inner, the true self, the heart space, the soul. The soul never dies. It doesn't die. Why would I not focus on growing my soul, becoming more embodied love, light, and strength, and radiating that out? So I think the curse is really a blessing. I think for me and my journey, my walk, I told someone, a couple of times, I've said, "Hey, I manifested this," and I don't know that that comes out as clean as I'm intending it to, because it's not like I sat around and did mantras and said, I want to be broken and weak and hurting. But I think this is where I was in my journey. I love working out. I love seeing a young man, a boy like me, with low confidence and self-esteem, build all that up. I love that. But at some point as well, it's like build it up, but be willing to let it go. The needy little Jody, the needy little boy that built up some muscle, some self-esteem, needed approval from others, needed approval from himself in the mirror, had all these needs. And then I go, what happens when I don't have these needs? I mean, my basic needs are met, right? Food, shelter, love, community, etc. But beyond that, what happens when I'm not needy? What happens when I can let go of the muscle or the body? Not totally let it go, but let it go enough to let my true self shine, to be stronger, kinder, less needy. And then what happens if I go get that muscle back, say post surgery? Look at what I've been through. I have to believe it's the 3.0 version of me. And I have to believe that's a better place. I will tell you this. If a man thinks he's got multiple problems, give him a problem like severe pain, and he'll realize he's got one problem. It is like single focus with the mindset. It's almost meditation. I'm just ruminating and meditating and compulsing about something that is not what I want to be focused on. But it's a teacher.
Oh man, boy, you said a lot there. I love this the concept of letting go. It right as you said that, it just I thought about the parallel in life. Isn't that what life's teaching us in general as we age? The things that we did earlier in life, they tend to start to go, and you can either choose to let it go or you can clench and grasp. But ultimately, the ultimate is just letting go of pretty much everything you've had in life, physically. The things that you've been able to achieve, and ultimately, when we leave this world, we don't have anything to take with us. And so that letting go from a personal standpoint really resonates, man. Um, you're now in Panama. You've got this pain. You've got the struggles that you've been recently in, and now kind of the thought of what the path forward is for you physically. You're also, for those listeners out there who don't know, you're the CEO and founder of Thumos USA, and I'm curious to know what your plan is being out there in Panama, if there is any, on meditating, on thinking, on strategizing your thoughts around not only what you're thinking about with the pain, but also with where you are with Thumos and what you have in your foresight for Thumos.
Charlie, every morning I make this beautiful cup of coffee and I get out there on the balcony and overlook the Pacific Ocean. And I focus on three things. Number one, as I go, God, what would you have of me today? And then I shut the hell up and attempt to listen. Number two is I list out 10 things I'm grateful for. Because that gratitude for me, it's the key that unlocks my happiness, my joy. And number three is I go, how can I be in mission today? To realize love, light, and strength, and to radiate it through connection, discernment, and kindness. Because sometimes I go, well, love is such a beautiful word and it's the North Star, but like, what does it really mean? Here's what it means, and for me, to keep it simple, to put it in action, is to just go each day and be grateful and kind. If I can be grateful and kind, I'm in a good place. I'm demonstrating love. I'm giving love. So I think what I heard from God today is just be here now. And I'm going to spend some time staring at that water. Water is my teacher, man. I've spent so much of life building and grinding and grasping, clenching, forcing, and I'm glad I did it. And I'm not ready to let it all go. We live in an economized society. I still have buildings to build, things to do, things to build, including a business. But I want to do it with less grind and force and grabbing and clenching. And I want to do it from a place of being subtle, being pleasant, beauty, almost from a place of flow state. So as I think about water, I go, what happens if, man, all this clenching I've done? Well, go clench water, dude. Go grasp that water and try to hold it and tell me how it works for you. I feel like I could sit here and study water for a week and I could study it for maybe for a day and be changed perhaps forever. Like it's blue, which is the color of love. It's high consciousness. Why do we feel better when we're in water? We don't even have to be in it. We can just stare at it. It like feeds our soul. We come from water. So, I can sit here and focus on the fact that I'm not where I once was from a health standpoint, a fitness standpoint, or I can look at it and go, number one, I'm growing. All growth that I know of typically takes tension, strife, struggle. The more of that I've had in my life, the more I've grown when I look back. And I can read my journals, it's very clear. And here I am again. By the way, I think this is temporary. I think I'm going to be talking to you 6 months from now, and I'm going to be in a different place. I'm in the valley. I'm coming up on a mountain. I don't know when that is. And I'm bringing men with me. Period. End of story. I ain't going alone. I don't want to be alone. I'm bringing men with me, not from a place of push, but pull, not from a place of force, but power. I'm bringing them with me. So I think all of this makes me a better, kinder, stronger, more complete man. I no longer want to knock a man down like when I was a boy. And I wasn't big. I wasn't a fight or anything like that. But my ego used to want to knock people down. The 3.0 version of me wants to help a lot of people back up. I think that's true strength. I think that's a stronger man than someone knocking someone down. I think this blends into Thumos. I think I'm surrounded by men who are as strong, if not stronger than me, and they've got my back. I think every man needs that, a solid tribe. We're about to do our number 11 weekend. I can't believe it's been 11. We pushed over 60 men through last year, and it's not even about the numbers. But what I'm seeing, these men break through to go from head to heart, to let go of so many toxins and poisons and just shit, man. And usually it looks like tears coming out of that man. When he gets on the other side of that stuff and he finds peace, potential, purpose, when he finds connection, clarity, and with that comes confidence, that to me is what it's about. When he goes home and his wife goes, I don't know what y'all did. I don't need to know. Sometimes I do need to know. That's funny too. But I want you back. When's the next one? When I hear the stories of these men, like their daughters or sons writing notes to them or telling them things like, Dad, I don't know what's changed, but I like the new version of you. That's what it's all about. And then I look at myself and go, I get to go back to number 11. And every time I go to a weekend, you'd think I would know it all, but not know it all, but you would think I would have all the crap out of me by now. But every time I go, more tears flow. And every time I go, all that shit's released. I'm filled back up with such thumos, which is spiritedness, and mojo from a place of love, light, and strength. I'm poured back into, I get more clarity, I get unstuck again. It's beautiful.
And when is the next weekend?
August 23rd through 25th, 600 beautiful acres, Trinity Pines, Texas. It's a proven product, man. I don't know how they keep getting better, but they just do. We'll ask the hard questions. Who are you? Who do you serve? How are you showing up as a husband? How are you doing as a dad? What do you need? We'll have our contemplation. We'll have breath work. We'll have honest, close up conversations, sitting in circles. We'll be in nature. We have contemplation, meditation. We'll keep providing the magic, God's magic.
Yeah, I can attest to that. This will be either my seventh or eighth weekend coming up in August, because so I'll be there, and I can attest to everything that you just described. And each time you think you've kind of solved the Rubik's cube of your life, you go back into life, and there's more Rubik's cubes to solve and to unravel and to learn about yourself. And I mean, like we just talked about you physically as a complex being, the systems that are going on in your body, the same thing is going on in the mind and in the heart. Like things are so complex, and in with the noise and distractions we have in the world today, going off and doing a Thumos weekend is just it provides clarity. Whether it's a window to the soul, it's a window to your heart for a couple of days. Boom, you get in there and see it, and then kind of be armed with the power to go back out and challenge, get back into life and grow. So I can attest to everything you just described about the weekend. And for those listeners out there that are looking for improvement and growth, you need to really check that out. Next one is August 23rd. Jody, I don't want to keep you too much longer here, bud, but like you got another couple of weeks here in Panama. Any exciting words that you want to share with the listeners before we roll out?
Go deep on you for a second. I think every man out there, every woman out there ought to ask, what is the purpose of life in my life? And I'm going to tell you what I think it is. It doesn't make it right. It's just what I believe. I believe the purpose of my life is to grow my soul, to raise my consciousness toward Christ, towards love, light, and strength. I think I'm here to grow. I think we all are. Yesterday, we went up to a little mountain community called El Valle. It's about an hour away, and it's rainy season, and we didn't bring raincoats. We forgot, and we're up there. There's a nice lady, we know a couple up there, and she's walking us around, and it's this beautiful. lush mountains, green, real wet. And of course, it starts raining on us. We're walking back home. And Charlie, I was about 10% surrendered and open, and about 90% closed off. We're walking through the rain, and it's probably a mile, and we're getting our asses wet. This is me, my three boys, my wife, and then the lady and her two boys that are with us. And I was about 90%, oh, wet. We're soaked. My family's soaked. We're gonna have to drive home in this shit. We're all wet. We don't have a change of clothes. But there's about 10% of me that said, dude, it's okay. And as I reflect on it this morning, it's like, man, I missed it. I missed it again. 10, 10 weekends that have all changed my life for Thumos. 100 Zoom calls. 100 Zoom calls, 2 per week, 50 weeks last year that I attended. It's all about awareness and becoming awake. It's so beautiful. And I still missed it. I'm that much a work in progress. If I had a redo, I'd have been 90-10, dude. I'd have been, oh my gosh, I'm in another country. I'm in the most beautiful area. I'm getting rained on. By the way, we're getting rained on. Unlike the States, we weren't cold. You get rained on in the States, you're cold. We weren't even cold. I've got my family. I've got a beautiful area. I've got money in my pocket. I've got my health. It's not perfect, but I've got my health. Like, man, I should have just been embracing the rain and the here and the now and the moment. So my message to folks, to the audience out there, enjoy it all. The pains, the struggles, whether you're going through relationship problems or health problems, like the grind, the struggle, the suffering, it's all part of it. And if we're just looking for the happy days and the pleasant and the comfortable days, we're going to miss a lot of opportunities in life. So my message is to embrace and enjoy it all and stay connected. Find you a community. Find you 2 or 3 ride or die friends. Pour into them, encourage them, give and take. That's what I'd leave you with.
Thank you, Jody, man, and thanks for the time, man. I know you're out there doing the vacay in Panama, so I appreciate you taking a little time with us today. And I want to thank all the listeners out there. Thank you for listening, and if you like what you've heard, please remember to follow, give us a strong review. If you're a man out there searching for improvement and growth, be sure to check out Strong Dad's Community or Thumos USA. Either one, we're on all the social media platforms as well as the .com. So. All right, with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks, Jody. And
Thank you. Bye bye.
all right, brother.